for the rest of your life. Heck no, you don't stick to it. You go to Starbucks and you celebrate that you made it through it, right? At least that's what we do in the Robinson house. Okay. We're super excited. I was about to go into the slide because it's just kind of habit, but I want to bring on somebody who Troy and I just met. We feel so lucky to have someone that has studied this stuff, who is educated. She's in the medical field. She is a nurse practitioner. She knows what she's talking about. She understands what these products do inside your body, how they can help you. But actually, we heard her, kind of answering some questions before, but we never really heard her at a presentation until Friday night when we were there. And she came up to the front of the room and, talked about all three of these products. And Troy and I were absolutely blown away. I mean, we just thought that she did such a great job of explaining them to where people could understand it. She was just so sweet and knowledgeable. So we were like, we need to get her on a webinar. So we invited her to come on to share with you guys. So this is her first time. So please, everybody, give it up for Shannon Paradise. Let me unmute her. Shannon, are you there? Hang on. Are you there? Shannon?
Yes.
Okay, there you are.
Okay.
Go ahead, girl.
Thank you for the introduction. That was nice.
Oh, you're so sweet.
To give you a little background about me, I have been in medicine for about 18 years. I started off as a firefighter EMT and actually worked on the fire trucks. And the more medical calls I went to, I enjoyed that better than running into a burning building. So I decided to go the EMT route and then nursing. And then nursing led me to become a nurse practitioner. And I've been practicing really only for about 3 months, but a total of about 18 years in the medical field. With that being said, I pretty much got into this business when I went over to Jerry and Jamie's house and they told me about the product. And I'll just end it there and pick up the rest of that sentence at the end when I introduced our next guest. But to go into the Ludaxx products, oh, cool, it works. I clicked the slide. Okay, F21, the all-natural sugar blocker. We can see at the top the three main ingredients, the yellow ribinose. We know that this is the primary ingredient that helps the F21 work. And I have discovered over 26 research articles that have been published, and it has proven that L-arabinose selectively inhibits intestinal sucrase activity in an uncompetitive manner and suppresses the glycemic response, which is the hyperglycemia, the high blood sugars, after sucrose ingestion by stopping the sucrase activity. So the next slide we go into will basically show you the mechanism of blocking the refined and the processed sugars we eat every day. The PSK, the polysaccharide crestin, this is one of the most phenomenal ingredients that I find in the F21. It is actually derived from a mushroom that has been extracted and long used in Asia, and it just recently began to be used in the Western countries, and it's been used for a treatment for cancer due to its presumed immune potentiating effects. It has the ability to cut off blood supply to malignant and benign tumor growth, and it boosts the immune system. But what a lot of people don't know what PSK can do, it's used in the treatment of herpes, chronic fatigue syndrome, hepatitis A, B, C, D, E, and pulmonary disorders such as lupus and COPD, which is chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases. It does this by reducing the phlegm, especially important in cystic fibrosis patients. Still many children are born in this world with CF, and that's pretty much how they come to their demise, is the increase in phlegm and secretion in the lung. And PSK actually inhibits this, which is phenomenal. It improves bodybuilding results, so any of the bodybuilders out there need to get on the F21, if not just to maintain lean muscle mass. It increases your energy, and phenomenally, it cures ringworm and other skin conditions such as impetigo, and it cures urinary and digestive tract infections and liver disorders. It reduces the toxic effects and the pain of chemotherapy and radiation therapy, and it increases the effectiveness of chemotherapy and prolonging life and raising the quality of life in cancer patients. And we all know that needs to be done more in the U.S. Diabetes can slow the motility along with blocking the arteries, which can lead to intestinal ischemia, which is dying of the intestines, which then in turn turns into hypertension. And unfortunately, that's how the cardiac patients come to their demise. So PSK has so many powerful benefits, literally from the top of your head to your toes. It is even being currently used in Sweden and Germany and Yugoslavia as a treatment and a cure-all for arthritis. Now, the final ingredient, me and Nolan Meyer, we kind of laughed at this the other day. I call it Konjac Mannin. He calls it Cognac Mannin. So we're just going to call it KJ Man as the third ingredient of the F21. This is the dietary fiber, which is obtained from elephant yum, and it's been used for many decades to control diabetes. The Mayo Clinic has been using this with their patients to help control diabetes, and it was recently publicized in research on their main website that anybody can go and look it up. And it basically does exactly what the F21 states. It blocks off the ingestion of the refined and processed sugars. It will not allow it to break down, and then it gets excreted naturally through the GI system. It doesn't interrupt or get bypassed through the kidneys or the liver, which is phenomenal. The background of the KJ Man is basically, botanically, it's known as Amorphophallus, which we don't have to memorize any of these words, but I just found it so interesting that it contains a soluble sugar, protein, and beta-carotene, and many B-complex vitamins and serotonin. What this does is it swells into a sticky gel when exposed to water. So as we swallow it, we also have water and enzymes that we produce naturally and can absorb 50 times of its own weight in fluids. So that's how it actually works, the mechanism, and combines to those sugars. Blue Cross and Blue Shield has offered complementary and alternative health practices to using just this one ingredient, the KJ Mannin, to pretty much control the blood glucose in people with type 2 diabetes. This has been going on since 2008, and yet, I have never heard of this going on for the past 4 years, as well as I don't think most of us have heard, but it has been out there and been around. It strengthens the immune system by suppressing and eradicating disease processes, and that's what we're all looking for in primary prevention. With that being said, it is also proven to lower your LDL cholesterol, which is the bad cholesterol, the one that we don't want elevated. And it benefits the good cholesterol by reducing body weight and your triglyceride level, which is another level of your cholesterol. It reduces fats in the blood. Many concerns with diabetics about lowering the blood sugar too much. Well, with type 2 diabetics, the pancreas is still functioning, meaning insulin is still secreted when it is triggered by elevated glucose levels. So a type 2 diabetic will ingest sugars along with their daily medication regimen, and the body's natural defense maintains homeostasis, meaning it attempts to balance out and regulate. The body's natural defense system will not oppose the F21, but will not allow a suggestive drop in blood glucose levels. So low blood sugar is only a factor with oral medications, not the F21, because of its half-life once it enters into the system. For example, metformin, which is an oral diabetic med, it has a half-life of 6 hours. The ingestion of metformin, it really goes over a 12-hour period. So you take that and you compare it to F21, which only binds to sugars ingested, thus not allowing the glucose levels to rise. It maintains balance with the pre-ingestion of the food in the F21. Long story short, if a type 2 diabetic doesn't take their medication but choose the F21 at least 15-20 minutes before the meals, and that's really important for everybody to get out there with those diabetics that you're trying to get on the F21, because you want it to get down in there and you want it to sit and basically capture the foods we eat. their blood glucose levels will not rise to the maximum as if they were not taking the F21. Also, if they're on the diabetic oral medications such as metformin, and they take their metformin, the moment they get up and they eat, their blood glucose levels still rise almost to double that effect before the metformin starts decreasing it. And again, that's, within 2 or 3 hours after ingesting the foods. So ultimately, they're on a roller coaster ride, and all that does is damage the liver, because metformin is a byproduct of the liver once it is concentrated and gets excreted through the GI system. But there again, when you compare it to something like F21, which is all natural, it doesn't even touch the liver. And to me, that is just phenomenal of how many lives we can actually save by protecting our liver. Probiotics. I don't know if many people know or have done the research, but the first role that probiotics play in our GI tract is to provide a healthy balance. So what gets in the way of this is basically really poor food choices, those excess sugars that we eat every day. Stress, sleep, medications. So many medications out there cause imbalance. And environmental influences. When the balances shift and we have more bad than good bacteria, symptoms associated with this imbalance are, typical GI, gastric upset, diarrhea. We get urinary tract infections, muscle pain, chronic fatigue. Probiotics provides a boost to our immune system, which most believe is the main promoter because it protects us from all the autoimmune disorders that are out there, such as irritable bowel syndrome, ulcerative colitis. You got Crohn's disease, you have rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, and many more infections. I can just go on and on and on. But features of the modern Western diet is the damage on the intestinal tract and its flora, which is the good bacteria due to, improper dieting. And it kills that good bacteria. And the culprit is excess sugars. That's all. It comes back time and time and again that it's the sugars that is causing our imbalance. The CDC has been recommending, for women to take about 35 grams of sugar per day because our brain cells do need sugar and our cells need healthy sugars. And men are just a little bit more with 40 grams per day. But as we saw in the previous covers, one Coke, we're going beyond 2 days of our limitations. So it is literally killing us from the inside out. Appetite suppressant, it swells 30 to 60%, 60 to 300%. But we have to remember we have to get the F21 into our system within 15 and 20 minutes minimum prior to ingestion. The recommendations is up to 2 hours. So if the first thing you do in the morning is get up and you shower and you shave and you do your other S's, go ahead and take your F21 because typically people will eat within that 2-hour time frame for breakfast and get into that habit, and then you will start seeing better results. You will start feeling better, and that immunity will start boosting, and you will feel the increased energy level that you have throughout the day. All natural, organic, whole food, we've stressed this time and time and again, unbelievable. But going back to the mechanism of the F21, this is just the simple of everything that I just kind of explained. One is the L-arabinose, the F21. It goes into the stomach. It sits there. Then you ingest, sucrose, which is table sugar, but it's found in almost every food item you can put your hands on. Sucrase is an enzyme. The L-arabinose inhibits the sucrase from digesting sugar into the body. And then sucrose and the F21 become a dietary fiber. They just cling on to one another, and they just stay together all the way until the time we excrete it through the GI system. And again, it bypasses the kidneys. It doesn't even go to the liver, so we are protecting those vital organs. The pearl, my favorite in the whole wide world. I think I need to, take 10 of these, but I don't know if that would even overdo it for me. The pearl, power, energize, anti-age, rejuvenate life. That's pretty much the mnemonic for the pearl. As you can read on the slide, there is so much about it. Some of the products that I've done research on is just, I just can't believe we didn't have our hands on this years and years ago. But, the Ganoderma spore, it is considered the highest ranked medication in Eastern medicine and in Asia, and it still is today, and it's been like this for thousands of years. It's been pointed out by so many research that it has better pharmaceutical effects than ginseng, while three important characteristics are demonstrated by this Ganoderma, that the studies have shown that the spore powder has many pharmacological effects. Anti-tumor, we've already talked about that, increases the immune regulation, it protects the liver, it protects against viruses, it doesn't have an effect on the nervous system of negativity, it lowers blood glucose, it lowers blood lipids, which is the cholesterol, it is a natural analgesic, and it has the capacity of anti-inflammatories, and the list goes on and on. I mean, at least 75 other things that the Ganoderma spore does. It's non-toxic, doesn't have any side effects, and it only improves not only one organ, but enhances the normalization of all your organs in your body. And it adjusts to physiological function. And I'll go into that in just a few minutes regarding adaptogens. Another ingredient in the pearl is the Aplanatanum Ganoderma, which is another spore of the same family. And, this has been researched time and time and again, and it possesses constituents with anti-diabetic and it stops the effects of diabetic complications. This is really important with our diabetics because the complications that they get is diabetic retinopathy, which is the number one cause of blindness in diabetics. More and more are coming down with retinopathy because of that roller coaster of those blood glucose levels going up and then down and up, and the rest of the vital organs that are being used to help regulate and balance are just getting killed. So, the Ganoderma is so powerful. I can't even stress it enough. And, it also correlates with the PSK. It is also used to treat hepatitis, and it's an antioxidant agent, and it's used in anti-cancers and as well as anti-inflammatory functioning. So the health benefits of just the Ganoderma in the pearl, the inflammatory against breast cancer, I've already stressed how it stops the blood supply. But other countries that have a prevalence in breast cancer use just the Ganoderma to help prevent the inflammatory response that the tumor receives from sugar products. Works with, the same on men with prostate cancer, same scenario. It works and helps cures vascular diseases. What it does is it's a polysaccharide, and it prevents platelets derived growth factor, and it stimulates the smooth muscles of our cells inside of the cell, like in vitro, where we would carry a child, but we're going molecular now, and it actually stops the proliferation of those vascular diseases, such as cholesterol and what leads to heart attacks, being used to fight lung cancer. And again, the anti-inflammatory effects, I can't stress enough with all of the problems that we have in our country with respiratory diseases and cancer, how important it is to stress, and even the GI system, with so many people suffering from IBS and colitis and Crohn's disease is becoming more prevalent more than ever. Again, it's because of the sugars. And obviously the type 2 diabetics. It possesses this anti-aging mechanism, which is unbelievable. And I've heard Dana say many a times, you can just start seeing, the lines of your eyes disappear when you start taking this. You look younger. People are going to start recognizing, oh my gosh, what are you doing? What makeup are you wearing? It's not a makeup. It's the pearl. And again, with all the cancers, when I talk about breast and ovarian, we're talking about all the hormonal cancers. Ovarian is becoming prevalent too, as well as cervical cancer due to HPV virus. It's becoming more known that more and more people actually carry, the DNA trait of the HPV. And that's leading to ovarian cancers, and it's getting missed because of our health care. In today's society, people don't have insurance, so they don't get primary care. with their pap smears, and this is becoming more devastating, and it's just leading up to increased numbers of women who are actually going to come to their demise, just like we saw in breast cancer for the past 20 years, because of not able to get to a doctor, pay the high health care costs for the primary prevention. So here is the primary prevention. We have it. And itching. I don't know if too many people know about this, but any type of symptoms with itching that we would take Benadryl for, the Pearl works just as effective, if not better. And it's hemodynamically stable to our insides and to our cells. So, it strengthens our myocardial infrastructure, our heart. And with that being said, it goes back to less sugars or block the sugars, decrease the cholesterol, less risk for, heart disease, heart attacks, strokes that are caused by embolisms, which ultimately lead from blockage in those arteries. On the ORAC score per capsule, we all know by taking 4 of these tablets, you can hit 60,000 on the ORAC scale. Pretty much the only competition when it comes to the ORAC scale and the antioxidants is, one of the juices that are out there. And, each bottle is different, but it measures anywhere between, 16 to 1,800 on the ORAC scale. But compare that to one tablet at 15,000. You just can't beat it at all. And the Conley tea. This is one of the most phenomenal products, and I see why Jimmy Lou was so excited about getting the Conley tea out there. It's actually been around longer than the F21. But the Conley tea is an effective herbal beverage, and it's adapted from modern science and research. And based on the ancient practices of Asia, Conley tea is carefully formulated from 12 different herbs packed with nature's most powerful phytonutrients and adaptogens to help cleanse the body of harmful toxins and all that biological waste that we accumulate. The premium herbal tea nourishes vital organs to aid in digestive and circulatory cleansing, and as well as promoting a more effective metabolism to aid in natural weight loss. So here again, you have another product that if you use regularly, you are liable to lose weight just from drinking the tea. Phytonutrients are nutrients that are derived from plant material, and they've been shown to be necessary for basically sustaining human life. The phytochemicals are nutritious plant chemicals that contain protective, disease-preventing compounds. The role in plants is to really protect other plants from diseases and injuries, as well as from insects and drought and heat and ultraviolet rays and poisons and all of our environmental stimulants. Well, we are plants, and that's why the Conley tea is so important because it's going to protect all of those things with our immune system. Although phytochemicals are not classified as any type of nutrient substances necessary for sustaining life, they've been identified as containing properties that aid in disease prevention. So if that's not enough for anybody to start drinking, tea every day, I don't know what is. But the phytochemicals are also associated with prevention and treatment of at least 4 of the leading cause of death in Western countries, i.e. us, which is cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and high blood pressure. Basically, long story short, drink some tea every day. You are preventing these diseases from occurring to you, and it ultimately will decrease your cholesterol level. The adaptogens, the high potency, and adaptogens are basically herbs, and it appears to increase the body's ability to adapt stress and change situations in people. People have been consuming adaptogens for years, especially in Asia. And in the 40s, Western scientists started studying these substances to learn more about them. Well, Jimmy Lou is not that old, but he's smarter than these scientists were, 75 years ago. But in order to be considered an adaptogen, the herb must have 3 traits. It must be non-toxic to the liver, and here we go again. It's non-toxic, and our liver is so important and so powerful. And it must be in a reasonable amount, which it is in our product. It must also generate a non-specific response, meaning that it does not target a specific region of the body, but rather benefits the body as an entire whole. So in addition, adaptogens must help to create a state of balance and normalization in the patients. It restores that natural homeostasis of your body. And in addition, it adapts to stress, and adaptogens also appear to be good for you. And the higher the antioxidants, it fights heart disease again. So I just can't say enough good things about the Conley tea, how it just nourishes all of our vital organs, and, especially the gender-dominant organs for the women and for the men. It encourages libido. It cleanses the digestive system. And I'm almost done, but the GI system, our gastrointestinal tract, we have tons of good and bad bacteria, but, this stuff can live up in our GI tract for 8 weeks. And this is the foods we eat. Now, the foods aren't there as whole because it's broken down in our stomach as it's mixed with those digestive enzymes and that chem that turns it to a liquid. But typically the digestive system, from, the moment we eat something, everything's usually excreted within a 2 to 3 day period. But it's left behind. There is much that's left behind. So this adds about 5 pounds of intestinal waste in our system that we walk around with daily, and it continues to compound and exacerbate all of our GI problems, such as the IBS, the Crohn's, and intestinal polyps. Leading up to 8 weeks of this bacteria, the food we digest in our intestinal tract, is not only unhealthy, but it leads to chronic constipation, which causes a whole array of other problems, especially in our elderly. So that's why if we can get this into some of the elderly population, the demographics, it's healthy, it's good, it's keeping them, it's cleansing them naturally, and it's promoting balance with them. And obviously, the more garbage we carry around in our stomach, we have higher stress levels, and our moods change. So if we can basically clean ourselves out every single day and know that we have good bacteria that's flourishing our GI system, we're going to feel better, we're going to feel healthier, our mood's going to be better. And again, it just all goes back to the antioxidants and the immune system and how it just boosts it up. And I